got Ron Wyden, who doesn't even live in Oregon. He lives in New York City, a couple of thousand miles away. He's not much use, but he's been in a government job for essentially his entire life. And he's managed to become a millionaire, too. Imagine how that happened. And then you've got Jeff Merkley, who's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's reliably a Democrat liberal, and so the Democrats keep him around. Well, there's a man who'd like to replace Jeff Merkley in the U.S. Senate, and his name is Tim Skelton, and he joins me now. Tim, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Lars.
We've never talked before, but you're planning to unseat Jeff Merkley, and I think you're starting in a timely way. You've got almost 2 years to get ready for the election. How do you plan to beat him, and what would you offer as a U.S. Senator that would be superior to what Merkley brings?
Well, so as a working dad from Sandy, I've lived in Oregon for 43 years. Along with my wife, Jessica, we've raised 3 amazing children. And I'm tired of the working class citizens living paycheck to paycheck, feeling as though they have no say and can't make a difference at all. So this notion that elites need to run the show should not be. And I hope to motivate more working class citizens to step up and run for office. You don't need to be a millionaire. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm curious. None of that, most of what affects people's ability to make a job in the Northwest is not controlled by the federal government. It's controlled by the state government and the county government and city governments and all that. How would you take a membership in the U.S. Senate as a way to change people's situation?
Well,
Tim?
I do have a plan for creating jobs as far as investing money into trade, timber, and green tech. So I want to, because rural unemployment is 5.8%, and those communities need jobs that pay. So investing money into things like electricians, foresters, solar techs, and more. And I would love to partner with Oregon companies and colleges to fund and facilitate that training. And also cutting out the DC red tape, such as the FCC's 300 pages of net neutrality rules that stops businesses from hiring.
I'd be in favor of getting rid of net neutrality, but Trump effectively did that already. I'm hoping that Congress actually passes a law that makes that the law, because they're still trying to do net neutrality under laws that existed decades before the internet came along. But again, I guess when you say investing money in, that usually means somebody plans to take tax money at the federal level and spend it on programs here. Is that what you mean?
That is correct. There are plenty of grants available for the 3 items that I actually am interested in as far as the U.S. Senator goes, and I would funnel that money back into Oregon to secure these jobs for Oregonians. With my investment, the jobs created would bump the Oregon economy by $2 billion.
Okay, but hold on, Tim. All those programs to make people electricians, to make them plumbers, to make them HVAC technicians, all those jobs or all those programs are already available right now. I've done some of my own research on that, because at one point my stepson talked about becoming, say, an electrician. And those programs are available, they're cheap, and they're easy. Why do we need federal grants for those at all?
I guess I'm just looking at a way to prevent from raising any Oregon taxes for Oregonians, and that's kind of where I'm hinting at, is I don't want any new taxes for Oregon, and any of these programs are going to cost a lot of money for the taxpayers. And that's
why do they? No, but Tim, I just pointed out to you, there are training programs, both union and non-union, for all the trades you just mentioned. But that's not the problem. The problem is getting young men and women who actually say, I want to do this, as opposed to, I want to do a minimum wage job and access the federal benefits that I can access. And I don't want to go out and in fact, I just was talking to a plumber the other day who said, we can't get kids to go into the trades. And the same complaint comes from people who do concrete and sheetrock and metal work, HVAC work, electrical work. You can't get the kids to do it. So how would you go about getting them into the programs that are already out there and paid for?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing I was talking about with my campaign folks was we need to reach the younger generation. And I want to talk to the juniors and the seniors of, believe it or not, even high school level, because they're going to be voters come November of 2026. And I would love to hear what they have to say as far as what they would like and what they would like to see. So talking to the younger crowd is what we have to do, and that's what I want to do.
And what's your plan?
And tell them about it. Go ahead.
You said you want to get people out in the forest and doing more work there. I think it's a tremendous resource. How would you do it?
So for that, I wanted to invest $50 million into forest management, yes. that would involve thinning forests, creating fire breaks, and hiring local workers to protect the communities. As far as getting people involved, there are plenty of youth organizations and even adult organizations in Oregon that require community service hours of some sort. And I think getting groups together and doing cleaning days and clearing this stuff out would be a fantastic way to do it. And
But you want the federal taxpayers to fund that. How about funding it from the money they make from logging the forest? Are you in favor of that?
Yeah, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
I mean, it makes a lot more sense than just spending money on forests. Right now, since you're running for a federal job, you are aware the U.S. Forest Service owns one of the most valuable resources on Earth, 198 million acres of forest. And do you know they lose money every single year on that?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if your granddad gave you 198 million acres of forest, you'd have to work pretty hard to lose money, wouldn't you?
I would think so, yes.
Yeah, in fact, you'd probably be rolling in dough if you actually managed it the right way. So, you know, what's your idea for fixing that?
I hadn't really, I'm not going to lie, I hadn't really thought about that because I was focused on wildfire prevention. And because, I mean, we're threatening a $1 billion industry here in Oregon for timber due to wildfires, and I was hoping to focus on preventing wildfires.
How about this? If you cut the trees on a regular basis and replant them, and you clear the trash off the forest floor, meaning the dead limbs and all that, that's the fuel, you can do both at the same time and make money.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I wanted to do, because that would inadvertently create jobs for the people that need to go in and clear the dust and clear out the deadfall and all that. So no, absolutely. That is exactly what I would like to do.
Okay, I'll look forward to talking to you again, Tim. I hope you come with more ideas that are approachable by the U.S. Senate. Tim Skelton for Oregon.com is where you find his campaign. Back in just a moment.